Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I'm ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR Station, loud and clear.
Great. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Matt Flanders, class of 1989 at Santa Monica High School. I'm also the coach of the Santa Monica High School water polo and swim teams and proud coach of Dr. Jonny Kim in 2002. Thank you very much to NASA for providing this opportunity for our students to talk to the space station. We're going to be taking questions from Roosevelt Elementary School, John Adams Middle School, Lincoln Middle School, and of course, Santa Monica High School. Here are our first questions.
Hi, my name is Morgan. My question for you is, what is the most breathtaking view that you've seen from space, and how did it make you feel?
Hey, Morgan, I'd have to say the most breathtaking view that I've had so far was the first time I looked outside of my space capsule and I got to see the International Space Station, and it was this giant metal shining cathedral just up in space. It was one of the most beautiful and breathtaking things I've ever seen. The view from up here of our planet Earth is also pretty cool.
Hi, my name is Nam, and my question is, what scientific research or experiments are you most excited to participate in during your time on the International Space Station?
There's so much research going on that I'm excited about. I'd have to say the experiment I'm most excited about is all the research we're doing on our own human bodies. So all astronauts are part of research studies, and what we learn is going to help us travel far beyond Earth.
Hi, my name is Sophie, and the question that I wanted to ask you was, at what age in your life did you realize that you wanted to be an astronaut, and what were the steps that you took to achieving that goal?
Hi, Sophie. So I think as a kid, I've always wanted to be an astronaut, but I never took it seriously. I would say it wasn't until medical school in my late 20s that I really thought of being an astronaut as something realistic that I could do. And I think the most important lesson from that is you don't always have to know or have your whole life planned out or figured out, but it is important to follow your passions and work hard.
Hi, my name is Connor. What is the hardest thing to adapt to in a zero-gravity environment?
Connor, everything about adapting to microgravity is really, really hard when we first get here. Imagine having to go to a new environment where all the rules of physics that you are aware of are just not working the same. And so things like just getting from point A to point B, or eating your meal, or drinking water, they make things so much more difficult, but also a lot of fun.
Hi, my name is Juliet, and my question is, how many of your tasks on the station are physically demanding and or challenging?
So, great question. So I think all of the tasks that we do are challenging. You know, when I first got here, my first week, I had this really funny thing happen to me. So I had a pretty easy task of just putting things from one box to another bag. And on Earth, that task would be really, really easy. But as soon as I opened up this box, everything came out. And I was scrambling, looking for all my items. It was a little embarrassing. As far as physically challenging, we exercise every single day. And so it is really, really important for us that we are lifting weights and working out our hearts, because if we don't, we're going to have a lot of severe atrophy, and we're going to have a hard time readjusting back to planet Earth.
Hi, my name is Diana. Dr. Jonny Kim, you accomplished so much. Do you have a mantra? What do you tell yourself when things get tough?
You know, the same thing that I've repeated to myself really since I was as young as a high school student. You know, I remember working out in Coach Flanders' early morning swim and water polo practices and thinking, oh my gosh, this has got to end. When is this going to end? And I would say to myself, well, everything has to end eventually. And so a little mantra that I've always said to myself throughout my whole life, through training, when it gets hard, is this too shall pass.
Hi, my name is Miyuki, and I was wondering what your day-to-day life on the space station looks like.
Life here is so busy, but very, very rewarding. So it ranges from working out in the morning to we do our standard things of eating our breakfasts and our lunches and getting together as a crew around the dinner table. But as far as actual work, it's anything from repairing things that might go wrong or upgrading new equipment, or our main task is to conduct science experiments. So one of the things I was doing earlier before talking to you all was working in this life sciences box where we were conducting experiments on new cell cultures.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I love math, engineering, space science, and I know that you majored in math. So how can you use math and/or engineering on the International Space Station?
Hi, Elizabeth. I love math too. So it's a great question. And so we, of course, use the knowledge we learn from math and engineering and any of the other kind of science subjects in our daily lives here on the space station. But what I'd say is actually more important is how we arrive at the right answer and how we ask the right questions. And that's what math and studying engineering really, really taught me, is that asking the right questions and the actual process of finding the right answer and how you use logic and rationale to arrive at that answer is actually much more important than having just pure knowledge. And that's something we use every single day here on the International Space Station.
Hi, my name is Amia, and my question is, what ultimately motivated you to go to space, and how did your experience as a doctor and a Navy SEAL influence your decision to travel to space?
Hi, Mia. So I am really, really passionate about inspiration. I think the gift of inspiration is one of the most important things that we can give each other. And I've been very, very fortunate throughout my lives to have periods of inspiration. And when I thought about what I could dedicate my life to, I really, really wanted to be able to inspire the next generation to make this world a better place. And I thought, well, NASA is a great place where we conduct science, we learn more about our world and the cosmos, and we enrich everyone's lives on a worldwide basis, all while inspiring the next generation. And that's what really, really drew my attention to NASA and why I applied in the first place.
Hi, my name is Rosalie, and my question is, from your time in high school, what were some of your favorite memories that inspired your career?
Hi, Rosalie. I've had a lot of great experiences going through Roosevelt and Lincoln Middle School and Samohi. Go Vikings, by the way. I'd have to say some of the most growing times for me were some of the biggest challenges I had. And sometimes those were in math class with Mr. Rupert, or sometimes they were trying to endure a water polo practice or dealing with defeat against a rival. And so it's really just all of those everyday life experiences and challenges that life can bring us that helped me grow and was really, really important for me in my development.
Hi, my name is Bodhi, and my question is, when you first got into space and could see Earth, how did your perspective of our planet change?
Hi, Bodhi. So we orbit our beautiful planet Earth 16 times a day. We get to see 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets, and we see vast amounts of ocean and land. And we don't see borders up here. And we see this thin, frail line of atmosphere. And it really put into perspective the scale the world can be and our cosmos, and made me really feel that we need to treat our planet as best as we can.
Hi, my name is Charlie, and my question is, with NASA and private companies pushing for Mars and the moon exploration, what skills do you think are most valuable for the next generation of astronauts?
Hey, Charlie. I think that's a great question. So it's very, very clear that technology is only going to improve as we get older. And especially with the advent of AI, data, information, it's going to be omnipresent. But human space exploration has a key word, and that's human. Humans are always going to be involved. And when humans are involved, teamwork, interpersonal relationships, those are the most important things. And so in my experiences as an astronaut and in my previous lives, it's always the interpersonal relationships and how you integrate into a team to make it more effective. That's the most important part. And I think that's going to be the most important traits for the future astronauts as they venture to Mars and beyond.
Hi, my name is Lyndon, and my question for you today is, what challenges in high school prepared you for the resilience needed in space?
You know, I will share a funny story. So one of the hardest workouts I remember was having to run sprints up and down the Greek theater. I don't think, I think Samohi has undergone some renovation, so it may not be there. But there used to be these really big stone steps, and Coach Flanders would make us run just sprints up and down. And we also had really early morning practices, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so hard. How can they get any harder? But that kind of physical and mental preparation really, really prepared me for my career in the military and at NASA. And it's those things that served as the foundation for me to get through challenges.
Hi, my name is Malia, and my question is, what inspired you to become an astronaut?
Hey, Malia. I think in each one of us, there's an innate desire to explore. And so when I heard of being an astronaut, and I talked earlier about my desire to inspire, it was the other element of challenge, exploring the unknown, and also teamwork. As I mentioned before, teamwork is the most important trait astronauts can have to work effectively. And it's that kind of environment that really, really attracts me that I always just want to be a part of.
Hello, my name is Marco. When you are on the station, how do you protect it from internal malfunctions and space debris?
Hey, Marco, great question. So on the outside of the space station, we've got really essentially protected panels covering parts of the space station that we expect micrometeoroids to hit. And there's actually evidence of that. So we can see from cameras on the external or from spacewalkers that there's actually some sharp edges and burrs that will be caused by micrometeoroids hitting the space station. We also track some of the bigger space debris, and if there's any kind of space debris, we can perform maneuvers on the space station to actually go to change our altitude so that we avoid it. As far as internal malfunctions, things break all the time. Toilets break at your house, toilets break on the space station, and unlike the ground, we don't have a plumber to call, so we are the plumbers. And when that happens, we're prepared and we're trained to fix it.
Hi, my name is Gretchen, and my question is, if you knew what you know now from personally going to space, what advice would you tell your past self?
Hi, Gretchen. There's a lot of things I would say, and I have a hard time choosing which one, but I think it's the same thing I would tell myself as a high school student, but also something my future self might be able to tell me today if I was given the chance. And that in the journey of life, it's not so much the destination that's important, but the journey. And I think that's a beautiful metaphor to remind ourselves to look out the window, enjoy our lives, enjoy what we're doing, and not be so focused on where we're trying to go.
Hi, my name is Lila. And my question is, what are some unusual or unique training exercises you need to do in preparation for the launch?
We train for a lot of things that we might expect on the space station. I've got a whole list I can choose from. I think centrifuge is pretty cool. I'm sure you've maybe seen it from movies, a really, really spinny machine that you're in to kind of simulate the forces of gravity. I would say one of my favorites, though, was training how to eat the different types of space food, because that was always free food.
Hi, my name is Eva. My question is, how did you overcome the challenges you faced to become an astronaut?
Hi, Eva. So I think that we all have glass ceilings in our lives. Everyone does. But the only glass ceiling you'll never be able to break through is the one you put on yourself. And what that means is that oftentimes in challenges, we ourselves are the first ones to sell ourselves short. And so what I learned is that not only is it important to work hard, but it's also really, really important to believe in yourself.
Hello, my name is Ethan, and my question is, how did your time at Samohi influence your journey?
I really enjoyed my time in Samohi. It was great living next to the beach. You know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest, after high school, during high school. But my high school experiences at least gave me the foundation to keep looking and to actually be comfortable with not knowing where my destination was going to take me.
Hi, my name is Francesca, and this is my question. What part was the most challenging of your training?
So we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and I'd have to say that one of my biggest weaknesses was learning the Russian language. And it's something that's required for all astronauts, and it is, you know, I think my brain just doesn't work that way. And so I've had to put a significant amount of hours to try and get by.
Hello, I'm Shahar, and my question is, what is your mission in space, and how will your past training help you in your mission?
So I'm part of Expedition 73, and we're going to be up here for 8 months conducting a lot of science experiments and technology demonstrations. So the whole purpose of our mission is conduct science, because the answers to these science experiments help inform us more about our planet, more about space, and our own bodies, and that enriches everyone's lives on Earth.
Hi, I'm Reese. My question is, how would you recommend I start the path to a successful career in aerospace engineering?
Being curious, I think, is the first and foremost, is just asking why, wanting to know how to find the answer, where to find the answer. Another important thing is being comfortable with failure. And it's not easy to mess something up or not get the grade that you wanted or fail at something, but it's an essential ingredient in every story of success. And I think one of the worst things we can ever do is look at someone else's success story and think that their story wasn't full with a road of failures.
Well, hey everybody, State Senator Ben Allen here, Samohi class of 1996, go Vikings, and proud to be your representative in the California State Senate. We're so proud of all the amazing accomplishments of our students. There are clearly no limits to what you all can achieve. I just want to share my deep gratitude with the entire NASA team for providing this experience today for all the students. You've been so key in inspiring the next generation of our wonderful Samohi students and alumni to soar.
And I just want to say how much gratitude I have for Santa Monica High School, for Lincoln Middle School, Roosevelt, and the teachers at Samohi. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for a lot of significant people in my life during that journey. There's too many people that I could call out, but the job you do, the teachers, the staff there, it's so important, shaping and guiding our next generation, and I'm very appreciative of it. So goodbye from the International Space Station. So long.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.